Hello, hope you like my jersey here. I think you can't really see it on the screen, but I think this FUBU, for us, by us. I guess in a way this is old and out of date, but I guess I could just call it a uh, what they call throwback. Anyway, the video I want to do is about a YouTube video I watched called the Memphis Massacre of 1866. And they said it took about 100 years for it to not be classified as a riot uh, and then changed over to a massacre. They say that there's a book by Stephen Ash that's comprehensive. Um, Forgot whether it was the Library of Congress or at least the Congressional Record says you can get that online. And this says newspaper reports, Freedmen Bureau reports, which they say the Freedmen's Bureau was an organization to help slaves to transition into normal society. Now, the war and Lincoln's assassination, I believe, both ended in 1865, but certainly the war was over in 1865. And Lincoln had advocated, at least for the black soldiers, to get voting rights. And I understand it was soon after that that he was killed by James Wilkes Booth. And so many people keep talking about uh, because Lincoln said that he wanted to save the Union with or without slavery, that he was not concerned with the betterment of the slaves. Now, at some point, he did say he felt the white man was basically better and he wanted a better position for the white man, but his views evolved, particularly after he saw the bravery of the black soldiers during the Civil War. So many people say, well, you know, the white folks fought to free you. And of course, it's not just that simple. There's a lot of things involved with that, but the black soldiers played a crucial role in the Union victory. Most of the historians say that the blacks had fought for the Confederates also, but of course, I guess if the Confederate promised them they would be free, I don't quite understand exactly how that works out, but maybe that was the motivation if that were the case. And they said that a lot of the blacks spoke at the in the congressional record, and they believe that helped to be the groundwork for the 14th Amendment, which gave voting rights to black men. But of course, even in this video, they say, well, that was largely unenforced. But particularly when the thing first passed, a lot of blacks did get into the government. And of course, a lot of blacks in some parts of the South uh, voted as well. I know, like my grandmother had mentioned about, she voted for Nixon, but was a big fan of JFK. So that's at least one example in the South where um, blacks voted. So let's see here. I got my notes. Um, let's see. Former Confederates were banned from holding office, and ergo, the Irish wound up dominating the political offices, including the mayor. Now, they said that a lot of Irish fled to America during the potato famine of the 1840s, but then by about 1860s, their population ballooned a lot. Uh, they were uh, policing escaped black slaves and probably some others during slavery time. And then in Memphis, they became the police, and they probably were the police throughout America. Most of the police, as they said in Memphis, they were 90% of the police force, and they were used to being able to do as they please because many of them were the policing force during slavery time. Let's see. They also competed with free blacks for jobs, housing. Let's see, 90%. Uh, the fire department was also black, Irish. And during the massacre, they said that they had thrown some people had thrown some black women into burning houses and let them burn. Churches and schools were burned. Some of the police were helping the citizens, the Irish citizens, to abuse the blacks in the massacre. And they said that the federal troops were held back for 3 days, and some of them had like black troops, but they said that people thought that maybe it would die over if you give it time rather than having black military coming over there trying to squash it. Now, they claim that once the military did come, um, that the, the disturbance was squashed within hours, which reminds me in modern times, Trump says, if they just ask for the help, I'll give it to them. And, the problem will be solved in terms of the crime. And they used to say that the governor would have to ask for the help, but I guess there's a way to get around that and try to give some people some help. But that was a big issue during the New Orleans hurricanes, because they said, well, they had to ask for some help. Let's see here. 3 days. Wait. So they say the riot started, or the massacre, they said a white person was accidentally shot and another white was shot. Then they claimed that a black man had committed suicide with a gun. Then, of course, in modern times, they have blacks hung from trees and they say that they were suicides. But they said that some of the blacks were drunk. They were uh, celebrating, I guess, being let out of the military, or of course they had been free for about a year, so ostensibly free. And but anyway, they just said that they had a few of them that were drunk. So they said they were arrested one guy, and then some people tried to interfere with the arrest. But certainly that doesn't justify killing and looting, burning schools, churches. What else did they burn? Schools, churches, and something else. Just riots or massacre are all over the place. Um, let's see here. Uh, so they said that claimed that they couldn't testify at the state level, so they had to testify at the federal level with the congressional record, and they said that nobody was punished, and those that did testify were risking retaliation. And they said that because they testified that it may have laid the groundwork for some, rights that happened further down the line. Of course, there was a Civil Rights Act passed in 1866, and I think there was something pertaining to the Indians that was also passed, and a lot of them have, up until modern times, not given the blacks their fair share of things. Let's see. So they were talking about how Andrew Johnson, who became president after Abraham Lincoln, but did not share the compassion that Lincoln did, in fact, have for uh, slaves and the formerly enslaved. They said that at one time Lincoln had advocated to send blacks back to Africa, saying that we couldn't get along together. But after, in particular, he was exposed to people like Frederick Douglass, who had good sense and uh, saw the soldiers' effort in the war, and that's when he changed. He advocated for at least the soldiers to have voting power, and I understand basically for the amendments as well, because the Emancipation Proclamation was a wartime measure, and that was only for the states that were in rebellion to the Union. So it's been said that Lincoln understood that this was inadequate and that he did push for amendments to the Constitution that would give blacks more right. Now, ironically, which one of those? Let's see, the 13th gave uh, black people freedom, and then I think it's the 14th was the one that I guess gave uh, people born in America birthright citizenship, which was meant to address the children of ex slaves. But now the newcomers have taken advantage of this, and there's a guy named Tariq Nasheed that makes history movies, and he's on YouTube and social media, and he He names people's names. I'm not that familiar with all of this, but he says that blacks had advocated and pushed for that 14th Amendment. And sadly, others have used it to their benefit, and the Supreme Court went on and sanctioned that. But Trump is still trying to do what he can to curb that. I was in a cab, and a guy was saying, well, who's going to do the dirty, essentially, who's going to do the dirty jobs if not for them? But now there are legal ways for them to come here and do these jobs. And what are we going to just have people bringing in drugs, committing crimes, murdering, and sex trafficking, um, and all of these things, just so that some people can do some work? And then it's not necessarily the undisputed truth that um, a lot of blacks won't do some of these jobs. And a lot of these jobs are not bottom of the barrel. Most of the healthcare field seems to be filled by these people, and that would be like nurses and various technicians and so forth. These are high paying, high status jobs that certainly Black Americans are capable of learning how to do and to do those jobs. Um, and then incidentally, I did a video called Adios America. You put, Archie Thomas, Adios America in the YouTube search. Or once you get to my channel, just click videos at the top, at least with the computer. I'm not familiar with how it works with the modern phones. Then my whole list of videos will come up, and that would include Adios America, which is a book review that deals with the immigration issue. Let's see. So I think that's about what I have to say. Um, Please give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Either way, that will help to promote my video. Click subscribe, and then the few times I put up something new, you'll be notified. And then, of course, you hit that once you hit subscribe, and then you hit the notification bell. But even if you just hit subscribe and look over my roster of videos. Let's see. And please post my stuff to your social media. Help me out. Let me see if I'm able to shut this off.